The story you are about to hear is a true story. This is a factual account of what took place during a normal summer day in May 2008. Here is my story. It was a normal summer day. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, children were playing in the streets. It was Friday, the end of the work week, and I had just walked into the door of my home after finishing my 40 hours of manual labor. Then I jumped in the shower and got ready to go out and party. I was ready to start my weekend and have a great night full of fun, happiness, and memories. I told my stepmom that I was going to pick up my girlfriend, go to a friend's house, and then I would probably end up staying there for the night. She said that was fine, so I hopped on my truck and drove away. After I picked up my girlfriend, I drove to my buddy's house. We drove with the windows down, music turned up, sang along with the radio. We were as happy as can be with no cares in the world. It was the weekend, and we were ready to start partying and living life. I pulled up to my friend's house and he came outside and joined us in the truck. After he got in, we went to the liquor store so we could get our drinks for the night. He decided to grab a nice cold case of beer to start us off. Then, we went back to his house to start the party. But then my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID and realized that it was my neighbor calling me. I thought this was strange, so I answered the phone. After I said hello, she told me that I needed to get home immediately. She couldn't tell me why, but she said I needed to get home as fast as I could. I was so confused. I had no idea what was going on, but I knew that it couldn't be good. So I started my truck, and I drove like a madman to my house. I pushed the pedal to the floor and drove as fast as I could, all the way home. When I reached my house, my stepmom was waiting for me on the front porch. I got out of the truck and started yelling at her to tell me what was going on. She told me that I needed to sit down, so I did. And I asked her again, very angrily, what is going on? She asked me if I wanted it to be sugar-coated or not, and I told her to tell me what the hell was going on, and I didn't need it sugar-coated. Her exact words after that were,
Chris, I'm sorry, but the coroner's office called today, and your mother has passed away.
As I heard what she said, my mind went blank. I couldn't hear anything else she told me. I just marched through my front door, up the stairs to my bedroom door, and I proceeded to punch it numerous times, trying to release my anger. Then I remember her telling me that I had to get all of my emotions out as soon as possible, because my sister was on her way home and I had to be strong for her and show no weakness when she got there. So, I made some phone calls, and that's when it hit me. I started to cry a little, and I realized that my mother was actually gone. About 15 minutes later, my sister came home, and when she got there, she ran up the stairs to her room. I followed her, and I sat with her on her bed, holding her in my arms as tight as I could, and all she could do is ask,
Why? Why did God take our mother, my best friend?
and I didn't have an answer. I told her everything would be okay, we would get through this tough time together. And we sat there for about an hour, holding each other in our arms. After a few more hours of grieving, and a few more rounds of phone calls, I laid in my bed and tried to fall asleep. As I laid there helplessly, trying to comprehend what was going on, I thought about a poem that I knew. It's titled It's All a State of Mind. And the more I thought of the poem, the more one stanza of it stood out to me. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world you'll find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all a state of mind. I realized that it is indeed all a state of mind. I knew that I had to think positively about this situation somehow. If I kept thinking that I wasn't going to get through this tough time, or that I couldn't handle the pressure of being the strong sibling for my sister, then everything in my life would start to fall apart, and I would indeed lose this battle. I had to keep telling myself that everything would be alright, because I knew that when all of this was over, it would be. If you think that you can get through something, then you can. So that's what I did. I thought about how everything would be okay in the end, and I knew that this wasn't the end for her, but the beginning. My mother was starting the next chapter of her life by being in heaven. In the end, everything was okay. So my message to you is this. It's all a state of mind. This concept can be applied to everything in life. All you have to do is believe and think positively, and in the end, everything will be just fine.